Through a recent breakthrough in research, a new weapon has finally been developed, and there is no one in the Kingdom of Hyrule more equipped to master it than the champion himself, Link. The first DLC weapon for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity offers a unique moveset that is both easy to learn while also having a surprising amount of depth that can allow Link to fully control and take advantage of his enemy's strengths when you truly understand how to utilize everything that it offers him. Let's swing on in and take a look at everything it can do. Link's regular attack string with the flail consists of 7 attacks. He will swipe to the left, to the right, double swipe to the right again, throw both flails forward, launch into a spinning jump, do a spin kick midair, and then finish with a double slam back to the ground. For his regular dash attack, Link will stop dashing and smack enemies with his flail. This will bring you to a stop, and if you want, you can then transition into his regular attack string. For his strong dash attack, Link will throw out his flails and use them to launch his body forward. From here, he will then go back to dashing. Moving on to his aerials, the flail's regular aerial attacks will do a typical 3-attack string, while the strong aerial has him attach a flail to the ground and use it to pull himself back down while slamming the other flail on the ground. Let's finish off this section with his Sheikah Slate runes. However, just like with every other Link playstyle, the way that he uses his runes is exactly the same, so I'll go through these a little bit quicker than normal. For his Stasis rune, Link will time lock enemies in front of him without adding in anything extra. From here, you're free to just attack. His Cryonis rune will have him create an ice block under him that sends him into the air. From here, you can then do his aerial attacks, start riding the wind, or simply do nothing and just land. For his Magnesis rune, Link will grab any metal objects and hold them spinning in front of himself, during which you can move around. Last up, his Remote Bomb rune will have him throw out 4 bombs consecutively, which you can aim while doing so. Unfortunately, if he hits an enemy with this and that stuns them, he can't dodge cancel out of this animation and has to wait for it to fully finish before he can move again. Having covered all of Link's basic moves, let's jump over to his strong attacks next. What Link's first strong attack is actually differs depending on which flail you have currently equipped. Unlike the typical 3-tiered weapon system that this game uses for just about every other set of weapons, there isn't actually a weaker or stronger flail. All of them are equal in power, and which one you choose will depend on which strong attack that you personally prefer, or maybe just which one you think looks the coolest. His Guardian Flail's first strong attack has him fling himself forward, giving him some extra mobility in order to get into fights quicker. His Ancient Bladed Flail has Link start charging up a blast, which fires after a short time. While charging this, time is actually slowed down, and if an enemy's weak point gauge is out but not immediately in front of you for you to hit, a hit from this move actually does a good amount of weak point damage. Last up, his Fortified Flail's first strong attack will have him quickly create a small barrier, one that is able to block attacks if used at the right time. This functions pretty much exactly like a shielded character's reflect move, blasting back Guardian lasers as well as interrupting regular attacks from enemies. If you can master the proper timing of this, you will also have yet another way to open up your enemy's weak point gauges. Personally, I vastly prefer the strong attacks of the Bladed Flail and Fortified Flail. Still, any one of these is not going to affect your playstyle all that much, so just go with the one that you like the most. Moving on, for his second strong attack, Link will attach his flails somewhere in the air and use them to then do an attack by swinging forward. For his third strong attack, Link will swipe his flail and unleash a series of attacks, which will cut continuously in one place, dealing a good amount of damage to any enemies who are caught within it. For his fourth strong attack, Link will do a spinning attack into the air, from which you can either just land or then add in any of his aerial attacks if you want to. For his fifth strong attack, Link will swing his flail all around himself before finishing with a double attack using his flails to hit to the front. The last part of this move is also able to force out enemy weak point gauges, which you will of course want to capitalize on by using his Stasis rune. For his sixth and final strong attack, Link will go on an elongated series of attacks before doing one final hit with the flail. And of course, this final hit will also force out enemy weak point gauges. All in all, Link's set of strong attacks are very straightforward, and things really are not going to get that different for him until we get to his unique action. So let's cover that right now. The unique action of the flail is definitely one of the more interesting extra systems that are added for any playstyle of this game. On its own, it does nothing, but if the flail gauge is full, and if you're using it nearby an enemy with either a one-handed melee, two-handed melee, or spear-type weapon, Link will launch out his flail and copy the weapon of whatever foe he hits with it. From then, he will then put the copied weapon on his back, and all of his regular and strong attacks will be replaced with a special one that reflects the weapon that he has. While you have the weapon equipped, the flail gauge will instead indicate how much durability your weapon has remaining. On top of this, if you want to get rid of the weapon early, you can also just throw it by hitting the unique action button again. This is often a good thing to do because throwing it will always reveal an enemy's weak point gauge, making this very similar to other single button press moves which will always guarantee an enemy's weak point gauge. In case it's not clear what kind of weapon you're holding, there will also be a small symbol that is to the left of his flail gauge, and if it's a sword and shield, that means you have a one-handed type weapon. If it's a single large sword, then you have a two-handed weapon, and if it's a spear, then you have a spear. Every copied weapon has a regular attack string of only 2 attacks and a single strong attack. A few of those hits do have some special properties, so I'll go into those briefly. Spear-type weapons are actually able to reveal enemy weak point gauges with both parts of their regular string, but they don't stun your enemy at all while this happens, so they can hit you back while you're trying to do this. Fortunately, the spears do have a very long range, so you can easily keep your distance until it's time to go in for the kill. Two-handed type weapons also are able to reveal enemy weak points, but only do so on the second hit of the regular string and at the very end of the spinny strong attack. These attacks are stronger and close range only, but naturally they do hit very hard. Last up, the one-handed weapons do not have any weak point revealing attacks to speak of, but the regular string hits an extremely large area, allowing you to carve through crowds very easily. So if you end up with this while in a small duel, you may just want to get rid of it right away. Together with his very solid set of basic moves, as well as the adaptability of his first strong attack and these unique flail copy weapons, there's pretty much no situation that Link can't handle here. Before I finish everything off, let's move on to his weapons and recommended weapon build next. Link has 3 possible flails to choose from, and as I mentioned before, none of them are actually more powerful than the other. He has his Guardian Flail, Ancient Bladed Flail, and Fortified Flail. Of course, each one of them has their own level 25 and 30 hidden seals, and I'll put those up on screen in a chart right now. Even though this DLC has added the ability to remove hidden seals, I've decided to still give my recommendations for each weapon with the original hidden seals that it comes with, as removing hidden seals is something that you can only do when your weapon hits the new high cap of level 50. And honestly, if you're at that point in the game, I don't know why you would still need a weapon build recommendation. It's pretty much straightforward 99% of the time. Speaking of that, rather than narrating my decision-making process here, I'll just show off my preferred build for every single one of these on screen. And you're going to probably notice a trend. In general, for pretty much every character, you want more attack speed. And in almost every case, except for Riju, a perfect secondary seal to go alongside that is the strong attack damage seal. Basically, with everyone, you just want to hit fast and you want to hit hard. And if you want a plus 20 bonus, then you need 4 of one shape and 2 of the other. Before moving on from here, I just want to give a small public service announcement. If for any reason you accidentally sell or forge one of your flails, you can simply get another one from the research lab menu by trading materials that you've gathered, just like you did when you picked it up in the first place. So you don't have to panic. Just like that, we have covered Link and his flails. Let's put everything together and see where he ends up. As the least showy of the 3 new DLC weapons, the flail has quite a lot to live up to, and that's on top of being attached to Link, who already has some of the most powerful playstyles in the whole game. To me, the flail is a fittingly very approachable weapon that goes beyond just being another standard typical fighting style through the addition of its pretty out there mechanics. Personally, I really enjoy the extra layer of looking out for what weapons your enemies are holding, and this also happens to add in a bit more flavor from Breath of the Wild while still making limited durability work in a warrior-style game. All in all, this is an extremely solid weapon option for Link, and on top of this, I really hope that the new standard of all weapons being viable options that depend more on your personal preferences instead of certain inbuilt damage caps is something that we'll see in the next DLC as well as future Warriors games to come. So, what are your thoughts on Link and his flail? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and also if there was anything big that I missed, go ahead and drop that down there as well. I'll be making a pinned comment on this video if there's anything big that I may have forgotten about. As always, thank you so much for watching everyone, and I hope to see you next time. Big thank you to my top patrons DW7 Still Rules, Henry Gutierrez, and Ryan Poe, as well as to all of my other patrons on Patreon. If you would like to support this channel and my main channel Shanebrained, check out the links in the description. Thank you all very much.